Namaskar, this is CVR English and you are watching the India Budget Special with me, Anukruti Sharma. Today is the budget day in India. Yes, my dear friends, it's also become a record for our finance minister. This is her 7th consecutive budget. The previous record was 6. So now we are looking at the top highlights from the India Budget 2024. Number 1, the growth projections. India's GDP is expected to grow by 6.5 to 7%. Look at that in context. The GDP was 8.2% in the last financial year, but that was post-COVID growth. The pandemic had battered the economy. And so the last year was all about revival. Hence the 8% growth happened. Having said that, 6.5 and 7% are also quite impressive. China, for example, is expected to grow by just 5%, so India is quite well placed. Which brings us to highlight number 2, inflation. The budget says that the prices are largely under control, but food inflation remains a problem. It was more than 9% last month. The budget has listed out reasons for this, why the inflation is so high. Mainly weather, the heat wave and the pandemic fallout. It says that India's short-term inflation outlook is benign, meaning not a cause of concern. But what about the long term? The government has suggested some measures like increasing oilseed production, better storage for vegetables and producing more pulses. Now this is a long-term map for India's fight against inflation. But here's the catch cry. No farmers, no food. What inflation are we talking about? The food inflation hits the end consumer as the food prices escalate off the charts, while the Indian farmers are ready and more than willing to produce even more food. But what is stopping them from cultivating and producing more food so that the food prices could go down? Yes, we are talking about food inflation, one of the byproducts of the Indian economy. But are we looking at the root cause of the problem here? If the budget talks about food inflation, then there's no smoke without fire. What does it mean? It means that the budget is subtly hinting at the showman behind food inflation, the Indian farmer, the farming community, the community that forms the core Indian agro fabric of the country, the community that is the bedrock of the food production in India. And the farmer has been hit the hardest this year. Now let's look at highlight number 3, jobs. It's a major concern for India. 30% graduates are unemployed. The Indian government argues that the India's job market is robust. Based on what? The PLFS, or the Periodic Labour Force Survey. It says that India's youth unemployment has come down from almost 18% in 2018 to 10% now. That's what the government says. It also says that more women have joined the workforce, but the Indian budget does flag a major issue, and that is AI. Artificial intelligence. Listen to this, and I'm quoting. AI casts a huge pall of uncertainty as to its impact on workers across all skill levels, low, semi and high. These will create barriers and hurdles to sustained high growth. There is uncertainty in the job market. Now this is a big statement to make, but it's also a debatable one because we don't know the level of AI penetration in India and we don't know how many companies are using it and to what extent. So it's tough to gauge the impact. But if AI has made it to the budget of India this year, then that in itself is a big deal. And to throw more light on these issues that have emerged in the India Budget 2024, we have with us Shri Ranjit Singh Raju, who is the convener of Grameen Kisan Mazdoor Samiti, or the GKS, joining us on a live call all the way from Rajasthan. We welcome Ranjit ji to the show. We also have Shri Gopala Krishna, who is a prominent economist, and Dr. Tummala Yugandhar of Telangana State Congress Party leaders, joining us absolutely live today. Joining us next is Shri Shivinder Singh Buttar, Head of Human Resources for Renewable Energy, all the way from Vadodara. Namaskar to all our esteemed guests who have joined us from the different parts of the country. We welcome you all to our special discussion of the India Budget 2024 at CVR English in Hyderabad. Namaskar to all our guests.
Good evening, everyone.
Do we have Shivinder ji on call with us today? Shivinder ji, can you hear my voice? So Shivinder ji,
It's not clear, ma'am. Can you be a little bit? Your voice is not clear.
Am I loud enough?
Yeah.
Am I clear? Okay, Shivinderji. Shivinderji, my first question goes out to you, since you have been an astute senior HR professional in the IT, food and beverage, sustainable energy and the automobile industries for 15 years collectively now. I'd like to ask you this burning question from the budget. Jobs. It's a major concern for India. 30% of the graduates are unemployed, but the Indian budget is arguing that the job market is robust. And this is only based on the periodic labor force survey. It also says that more women have joined the workforce, but the survey does flag a major issue, which is AI. What is your opinion on the current job scenario in India? Are the youth really getting employed as easily as this current budget is projecting, sir? Shivinderji, I will repeat my question to you. What is the current job scenario in the country? What is written on paper is different from the actual reality. So what is the current job scenario? Are the youth really getting employed in the country as robustly as the Indian government is projecting? Gopal Krishna ji, am I clear to you? Gopal Krishna ji, looking at the motto of the Indian government, which is Hamara Bharat, Hamara Vikas, and now also Hamara Vishwas, and looking at the priorities of the Indian budget for this year for the Vikasit Bharat, when it comes to jobs, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has promised internship opportunities for the unemployed youth of the country. Under this budget, the Indian government has introduced a new scheme for providing internship opportunities in 500 top companies to 1 crore youth in the next 5 years, with an allowance of rupees 5,000 per month, along with a one-time assistance of rupees 6,000 through the CSR funds. How do you think is this scheme really going to benefit the graduates, postgraduates and the job seekers of our country, and to what extent? Anybody on the forum would like to answer me on this question, that with regards to the entire job scenario in the country and with regards to the internship opportunities which are being offered by the government right now, how many of these internships are really going to transcend into jobs, and is this scheme really a practical, doable, feasible scheme in the future, in the coming years? Anyone on the forum would like to speak on this matter? We welcome you to share your thoughts with us. We have all the 4 members who have joined us on the panel now. This is indeed a great moment. We have 4 prominent speakers, eminent guests on our show today, live here in the CVR English newsroom to discuss the India Budget 2024.
Hi, I am Dr. Yugandhar Tumala from Telangana. I would like to add a few points on the discussion that is happening in the forum.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes,
audible
sir,
to
you
you?
are audible, sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, very good evening, and congratulating Nirmala ji for the 7th consecutive budget that has been placed today in front of the Parliament. As a farming background, and my father being the Agriculture Minister of Telangana, we have some inputs to be given to the Finance Minister to be considered on the agriculture part. Telangana being one of the leading producer of palm oil, we are facing hard times with the imports that have been imposed on palm oil imports. The taxation that was there earlier was being reduced by the central government, which thereby decreasing the price of the palm oil to the farmers. At a point of time, it had been gone to 23,000 per ton. Now it is prevailing at 13,000 rupees, which is a great loss to the farmers of Telangana and farmers who are cultivating palm oil. We request the Honorable Finance Minister to have a look on the imports of palm oil that has been importing from other parts of the world into India to increase and motivate the farmers of all over India to cultivate, because we are importing almost 98% of crude oil from Indonesia, Malaysia and other parts of this palm oil. And coming to the other points, the Finance Minister has been talking about natural farming, encouraging the farmers on natural farming, educating them and decreasing the imports of the fertilizers costs. We welcome the decision that has been taken by the Finance Minister on the things. We also congratulate them taking and at least focusing now on the horticulture crops, where we are importing a lot of horticulture crops from other parts of the world and losing our forex. We can very well do a lot contribution by cultivating them and motivating the farmers on the multi-layer farming that we need to focus on, which are other countries doing it right now. This is my point of view on this budget.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights on the farming community, because yes, agriculture forms the base for all the other industries in our country. Now coming back to Shivinder ji. Shivinder ji, are you there online with us? Can you hear my voice now?
Yeah, yes ma'am, I can hear you.
Shivinder ji, my question goes out to you, since you have been an astute HR professional for almost 15 years, spanning different industries like the IT, automobiles, sustainable energy, renewable energy, even food and beverage. A lot has been promised in the India budget of 2024 this year by Prime Minister Narendra Modi with regards to employment for the unemployed youth. But right now, as we see the current situation, 30% of the youth in the country is still unemployed, with women also struggling in the job sector when it comes to employment. Since you are an astute HR professional and you get resumes all the time, what is your take on the current employment status in the country, and is this situation going to improve in the coming years with this current budget?
See, one budget cannot improve the situation because this is a long pending issue as far as the industry is concerned. We as industry have been asking, including the institutes and the government, to provide skill ready or job ready individuals or professionals for the industry. The biggest challenge which industry faces is the skill gap. The demand of industry is different, and the courses which are taught in the institutes and the government, whether they are government or private, are outdated. Many private universities have started, skill oriented or the new age technology courses, but they are so expensive that common individuals or people from the middle class are unable to afford such kind of courses. Only the elite are able to do so. So the biggest challenge which industry is facing is basically the skill gap. Although government in this particular budget has promised to upskill the program, but that Skill India program, which was also initiated in the first government, was also there. But what happened with that was, it was more of issuing certificates and taking the government grant rather than actually preparing people for skill ready for the industry. So this year government although has said that they are going to have arrangements with regard to the outcome orientation, means whatever the courses will be introduced will also be ensured that there is a specific outcome out of those. So it's like a wait and watch situation for the industry to see whether whatever promise government has done, whether it is being done on the ground level or not. So that is with regard to the skill versus gap versus actually what industry needs. And industry has to invest a lot in training the new youth or the employees to make them job ready. So we have to invest a lot nowadays.
Interestingly, I'd like to build on that answer, Shivinder ji. As an HR professional, you do offer internships to the youth as well. Now, how many of these interns actually end up getting jobs either at your company or elsewhere? What I'm trying to imply is, how many of these internships really turn into jobs, sir? Because Prime Minister Narendra Modi has focused on providing internships in top 500 companies of the country to at least 1 crore unemployed youth of the country in the next 5 years. How many of these internships really turn into jobs?
See, as an industry, I do welcome any initiative which government does, but challenge again lies with the ground realities. If you look at the numbers which government has given, they are talking about the top 500 companies. If you talk about the murky companies of India will absorb 1 crore youth in 5 years. Okay, so that makes it 4,000 per annum per company, which is a gigantic figure if you look at it. So which seems like a wish list, more of a wish list than actual on the ground. So as far as the employability of these internship programs, it would certainly be very difficult for any company to absorb this number of people for into jobs, and that too when we have to see what kind of, because this is just a budget notification which government has done, but once the entire nitty-gritties would be coming, how the government plans to actually execute it on ground. So we have to, it's more, again as I said, it's more of a wait and watch situation, but as far as numbers are concerned, it's a huge number.
I completely agree. It looks very nice and glamorous on paper. It's very nice to speak about it in the parliament. but probably it is a wait and see situation, and to really understand what is going to happen practically real time in the years to come. I completely agree, and that looks like a reality check to all the Indians right now. Ranjit ji, moving on to you. Ranjit ji, we welcome you once again to our CVR English studio. Am I audible to you, sir? Ranjit ji, speaking of the MSP or the minimum support price, what is it? Just like we have the MRP on consumables, I believe that the farmers now demand a guarantee on the MSP so that they are able to get some respite from the cost of production. Are the farmers receiving this MSP from the current government? अभी तक जितने भी हमारे फार्मर्स हैं, फार्मर कम्युनिटी जो है इंडिया में, क्या उसको सरकार MSP प्रदान करती है?
No ma'am, this is absolutely wrong. सरकार हमें MSP अनाउंस करती है, MSP देती नहीं
जी,
मात्र 12% किसानों को MSP मिल पाती है, जिसमें वेरी लिटिल नंबर। सरकार कहती है कि अगर हम किसानों को कोई MSP देंगे तो सरकार पर बहुत बोझ पड़ेगा। They don't have so much resources to fulfill our MSP, but this is totally wrong because if you, I remember you one thing, सरकार ने 7th पे से लागू किया। 7th पे से लागू करने के बाद सरकार के ऊपर 4.5 लाख करोड़ एवरी ईयर बोझ पड़ा था। एक भी अर्थशास्त्री, एक भी इकोनॉमिक्स, एक भी इंडस्ट्री वाला कोई भी बोला सबने उस कदम का पेश किया था, प्रशंसा किया था, दिस इज वेरी गुड फॉर द सर्विसमैन। बट 4.5 लाख करोड़ रुपया पे करना और डिसाइड 50% ऑफ पॉपुलेशन ऑफ होल कंट्री भी कहते थे भारत का विश्व गुरु बनने का रास्ता, भारत का खुशहाली का रास्ता जो गांव से निकलता है, लेकिन इन्होंने गांव जलाई दी टोटली पोलिटिकल सिटीज। और अगर किसान को MSP मिल जाए तो हमारी GDP रॉकेट करेगी। जब 7th पे कमीशन लागू हुआ था तब अर्थशास्त्री ने ये कहा था कि इकोनॉमिक बूस्ट 4.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए बाजार में आएगा, बाजार में आएगा तो इससे डिमांड बढ़ेगी, GDP बढ़ेगी। तो हम कहते हैं अगर देश की 50% आबादी को MSP मिल जाए, मिल जाए तो जो हमारी GDP करेगी रॉकेट, क्योंकि किसान की कुदरत नहीं, किसान रुपया जेब में रहता है, किसान रुपया मार्केट में लेके आता है। ये सिंपल सी बात है, रुपया जेब में वो रखेगा जो फालतू है, किसान के पास तो फालतू है नहीं है। हैंड टू माउथ बड़ी मुश्किल से करता है, कितने रुपये मार्केट में लगे। नंबर 1। नंबर 2 मैम, ये उन्होंने बात चला रखी है कि MSP से महंगाई बढ़ जाएगी, फिजिकल डेफिसिट बढ़ जाएगा, ये तो बता दी आपको। लेकिन अब के टाइम 2 फसलों पे MSP होती है, गेहूं पे और चावल पे, और दोनों की ब्लैक मार्केटिंग हुई है। जिस फसल पे MSP नहीं होती उसकी ब्लैक मार्केटिंग होती है। मेरी दाल बिकती है 50 रुपए केजी और आपको मिलती है 200 रुपए केजी। मेरा प्याज बिकता है 5 रुपए किलो और आपको मिलता है 50 रुपए किलो। आज टमाटर आपको मिल रहा है 150 रुपए किलो, मेरा मिलता है 20 रुपए किलो। इसका मतलब अगर सरकार को कंज्यूमर को सही रेट पे सामान पहुंचाना है तो MSP लागू करनी होगी। तो शायद मैम सरकार को केवल किसानों के ऊपर सारा करना करती जो कॉर्पोरेट घराने हैं, एक चिप्स का पैकेट है, एक आलू मटर चिप्स है, लाइट सेविंग ड्रग्स जो एक गोली बनती है 10 रुपए में, वो 100 में बिकी जाती है। क्या सरकार को उसके ऊपर ध्यान देना चाहिए? सरकार ने एक तरफ से कॉर्पोरेट घराने की खुली छूट दे रखी है, दूसरी तरफ किसानों को MSP ना देकर बहुत बड़े तबके की अनदेखी की जाती है। लेकिन ये जयदिन चलने वाला नहीं, हमारा आंदोलन चल रहा है। इस बजट में सरकार ने MSP के ऊपर कुछ नहीं रखा। लेकिन दुख की बात यह है, एक मक्खिया मैंने आज पढ़ा था, निर्मला सीतारमण जी ने बोला 2 लाख करोड़ रुपया सरकार के ऊपर बोझ पड़ेगा कुछ किसानों के चुनने के बाद। लेकिन मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ निर्मला सीतारमण जी से, जो सामान आप 2 लाख करोड़ रुपए हमसे खरीदोगे तो बेचोगे भी है ना, तो बेचोगे उसको पैसा देंगे। और सिंपल सी बात है, मैंने जो मोबाइल खरीदा 5,000 का, आज मैंने बेचे 6,000 का, 1000 प्रॉफिट। अरे एक महीने में केवल 4,500 का 500 लॉस। लेकिन वो कह रहे हैं 2 लाख करोड़ की फसल खरीदी और सारी गड्ढे में देश को गुमराह किया जा रहा है। अगर वाकई मोदी जी देश को विश्व गुरु बनाना चाहते हैं तो 24 चलती जी की और अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी का बजट पढ़ने पहला बजट पढ़ने 1996 का, उस टाइम एक बहुत बड़ी एक्सेप्ट मीटिंग बुलाई गई थी। मेरे को देवेंद्र शर्मा जी ने बताया उस मीटिंग में तय हुआ था कि जितनी संख्या हमारी उठे उसके दर के आधार पर किसानों को एग्रीकल्चर को 50% बजट दिया जाएगा। ये मेरी कल ही शर्मा जी की मीटिंग हुई देवेंद्र शर्मा जी से।
We will take a short break over here. Okay, we are going to take a short 2-minute break over here. रंजीत जी हम आपके साथ जुड़ेंगे ठीक 2 मिनट में. Requesting the panel members to be with us. We are going to rejoin in the CVR English newsroom in exactly 2 minutes. Taking a short break from now, and then we will continue with the discussion on the India Budget 2024.
Adoption of technology towards digitalization of the economy, ease of doing business. For enhancing ease of doing business, we are already working on the Jan Vishwas Bill 2.0. Further, states will be incentivized for implementation of the business reforms, action plans, and digitalization. Data and statistics. For improving data governance, collection, processing and management of data and statistics, different sectoral databases, including those established under the Digital India Mission, will be utilized with active use of technology tools. New pension scheme. The committee to review the NPS has made considerable progress in its work. I am happy that the staff side of the National Council of the Joint Consultative Machinery for Central Government Employees has taken a constructive approach. A solution will be evolved which addresses the relevant issues while maintaining fiscal prudence to protect the common citizens. Budget estimates for 24-25. For the year 24-25, total receipts other than borrowings and the total expenditure are estimated at 32.07 lakh crore rupees and 48.21 lakh crore rupees respectively. The net tax receipts are estimated at 25.83 lakh crore rupees. The fiscal deficit is estimated at 4.9% of the GDP. The gross and the net market borrowings through dated securities during 24-25 are estimated at 14.01 lakh crore rupees and 11.63 lakh crore rupees respectively. Both will be less than that in 23-24. The fiscal consolidation path announced by me in 2021 has served our economy very well, and we aim to reach the deficit below 4.5% next year. The government is committed to staying the course. From 2026-27 onwards, our endeavor will be to keep the fiscal deficit each year such that the central government's debt will be on a declining path as percentage of GDP. I will now move to part B. Indirect taxes. Sir, I start with GST. It has decreased tax incidence on the common man, reduced compliance burden and logistics cost for trade and industry, and enhanced revenues of the central and the state.
And we are back here in CVR English newsroom ready to discuss about the India Budget 2024. We just took a break and we are back to have this hot discussion going on with our prominent speakers and our panelists who have joined us live from different parts of the country here in the studio in Hyderabad. Back to the discussion on the India Budget 2024. We have our guests back. Shivinder ji, am I audible to you?
Yes, very much.
शिविंदर जी, coming back to you, but before I do that, रंजीत जी, आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही थी कि सरकार को ये अलाउंस फार्मर्स को देना ही पड़ेगा क्योंकि कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन बहुत ज्यादा हो जा रहा है. एंड आई विल कम बैक टू यू विद माय अदर क्वेश्चन, Ranjit ji, very soon. But before that, Shivinder ji, I have a burning question for you from the budget. What about the women in the job sector? Are the women facing discrimination, any sort of discrimination in the job employment arena, or is it a fair play by and large?
See, as far as service sector is concerned, I believe it's a fair play because I have been a part of, all kind of industries in this, especially in India. So as far as service sector is concerned, it's a fair play for women. But when we talk about manufacturing sector, there's a lot of hesitation and resistance because most of these manufacturing companies, which are basically, they still follow old school of thought. तो काफी रेजिस्टेंस रहता है इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ कि वेदर दे विल बी एबल टू डू दैट काइंड ऑफ वर्क इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, वेदर दे विल बी एबल टू वर्क इन नाइट शिफ्ट्स और
तुमले युगंधर आए हैं क्या?
जी.
All right, sir. So we are now moving on to Dr. Tummal Yugandhar ji. Has Tummal Yugandhar ji joined us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So my next question goes out to Yugandhar ji of the Telangana State Congress Party leaders. He's here joining us live today. Yugandhar ji, speaking of the urban development, speaking of the stamp duty particularly, the government is encouraging states now to lower their stamp duties for properties particularly purchased by women. What are your thoughts on this and how far will it benefit the overall economy as well as our citizens?
I don't much agree into the point of lowering the stamp duties for women would encourage or increase the overall infrastructure boost, because the property that is being bought by anyone is going to be registered, and the stamp duty reduction in that, especially for women, wouldn't play much impact on the infrastructure section.
No, mine have come. Ranjit ji, coming back to you. जैसे कि आपने बोला था कि सरकार को MSP देना चाहिए ताकि कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन जो फार्मर्स को उठाना पड़ता है उसमें फार्मर्स को रिलीफ मिल सके, और ये MSP जो है अभी तक फार्मर्स को नहीं मिल रहा है. और इसी MSP से जुड़ा हुआ मेरा एक और सवाल है आपके लिए. रंजीत जी, फार्मर सुसाइड इज ऑन एन ऑल टाइम हाई इन इंडिया. इट इज अ बिग कंसर्न फॉर इंडिया. व्हाट आर द मेन रीजंस फॉर दिस इन योर ओपिनियन सर? फार्मर्स जो इतना सुसाइड कर रहे हैं इंडिया में, उसमें डेफिनेटली MSP का ना मिल पाना एक बहुत ही बड़ा कारण है. और ऐसे क्या कारण हैं जहां पर सरकार इन्वॉल्व हो रही है, जहां से सरकार की ओर से हमको सहायता मिल सकती है, नहीं मिल पा रही है और सुसाइड्स बढ़ रहे हैं?
मैडम, मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा और इस शब्दों में सरकार को 5 ड्यूटी है. 1 इज फार्मर, 2 इज मजदूर, 3 मध्यम व्यापारी, 4 एम्प्लॉइज सर्विसमैन और 5वां कॉर्पोरेट. लेकिन सरकार के 2 प्यारे हैं, कॉर्पोरेट एंड सर्विसमैन. सरकार तो इनके लिए कर रही है, सब टेक्निकल लागू किया, 16 लाख रुपए माफ कर दिया. आज तक एक ही 9 स्टेट में जंतर मंत्र किया तो धरना नहीं लगाया, उनके 16 लाख रुपए माफ हो गए. जबकि किसान सड़कों टूट रहे हैं, उनको नकली चलाई जा रही है, गोलियां बरसाई जा रही है, हमारे गोलियां मार के आयुष करके फीड किया जा रहा है. हम 400 किसान उनके जख्मी कर दिए गए हैं, हमारी बात निकली जा रही. लेकिन इसके साथ साथ मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, जब अपनी जनगाड़ी की सरकार थी उस टाइम किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड की शुरुआत हुई और साथ ही साथ ये माना गया था कि कृषि एक जोखिम का सेक्टर है, इसके सेक्टर है, कुदरत पर डिपेंड है, नेचर पर डिपेंड है. तो इसके लिए प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना बनानी चाहिए. तो सोमपाल शास्त्री जी तक कृषि मंत्री, उन्होंने एक सरकारी फसल बीमा योजना तैयार की थी. इन कानूनों से वो बहुत बड़ी योजना थी, उसको लागू नहीं किया गया. आने वाले में बाद में कॉर्पोरेट के पैसे की वजह से सरकार ने प्राइवेट बीमा योजना करनी थी, जिसका नाम है प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना. नाम है प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना, लेकिन वो प्रधानमंत्री की नहीं है, सरकार की नहीं है, वो प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस कंपनी की. इसमें सबसे बड़ा लोग क्या है, जैसे कि एक पूरा क्लस्टर माना जाता है, हमारी एक पंचायत है, एक पंचायत में अगर पंचायत के बहुत क्रॉप कटे 4-4 जगह पे, मान लीजिए मेरे मूल की खेती बन रही है, मेरे पड़ोसी की मूल की खेती बन रही है, मेरे मूल की खेती बहुत बढ़िया है और क्रॉप कटिंग में मेरा आ गया एरिया, तो मेरी तो कंपनी बढ़िया होगी, तो मेरे जो वित्तीय वो खराब हो गया उसको नहीं मिलेगा। सीधी सीधी बात नहीं है। जैसे कि हमने कार का बीमा करवाया, अपने हेल्थ का बीमा करवाया, ये अगर ये हो कि पूरा गांव बीमार होगा तो फिर आपको बीमा मिलेगा, ये पूरी कार की गाड़ी टूटेगी फिर आपको बीमा मिलेगा, ये सही नहीं। सबसे बड़ी जो कमी इस प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना यह है कि इन्होंने रेट को एक जमीन की इकाई न मानकर पूरी पंचायत के क्लस्टर इकाई माना है, जिसके कारण एक बहुत बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार हो, जगह जगह पर इसकी सेटिंग हो रही है। यहाँ हमें क्रॉप करने के जो हमारे मापदंड है, हमारी एक्सपर्टीज क्या होगी। जैसे कि मान लीजिए मैंने आज मूल का बीमा करवाया, मेरे को ये नहीं पता, मेरे को जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी बीमा दे रही है उसने 3 कितने मानी है, 2 क्वांटल मानी है, तो 2.5 क्वांटल मानी है, 30 क्वांटल मानी है, उनको पता नहीं मेरे तो कोई नहीं होता। उसके बाद जब क्रॉप करने चुनाते हैं, क्रॉप करने के लिए आज तक सरकार ने प्रशिक्षण नहीं दिया, किसान को पता नहीं है। पटवारी और इंश्योरेंस कंपनी घर पे आते हैं, माता जी को 100 रुपए देते हैं, हेल्थ के लेके चले जाते हैं और कहते क्रॉप कटिंग होगी, इस कारण किसान को बीमा नहीं मिली। अगर प्रत्येक किसान को 100 नोट मिले, जैसे आप कार का बीमा करवाते हैं, अपना हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस करवाते हैं, और प्रत्येक किसान को 100 नोट मिले, किसान को पढ़ेगा पढ़ाएगा, पता चलेगा कि ये मैंने अपने फसल का बीमा करवाया है, ये मैंने करवाया है, ये फायदे करवाया है। और इसमें मापदंड क्या है, अगर मेरा मुंह 2 क्विंटल का होता है तो मेरे को बीमा मिलेगा, मेरा बाजरा 5 क्विंटल का होता है मेरे को बीमा मिलेगा, मेरा नरमा 3 क्विंटल का होता है मेरे को बीमा मिलेगा, फिर तो है सही। लेकिन ना तो आंकड़े से दिए जाते हैं और पूरे 1 लाख के बाद बीमा दिया जाता है। इस कारण से मैंने किसान को कुछ नहीं मिल गया, बीमा कंपनी खूब माल कमा रही है, माल कमा के सरकारों को पे कर रही है। और मैं एक बात आपसे कहना चाहता हूँ, जो किसी बात पर जाएगी, हमारी सरकार एमएसपी ना देने के लिए अंदर लाती है बेनिफियों का, जबकि पिछले साल यूरोप के 40 कंट्रीज में से 24 रेसिपियों इसको लेकर भी हमें एमएसपी देनी चाहिए, उनकी लैंग्वेज अलग है, वो मांगते कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन। बात एक ही है, जब अमेरिका अपने फार्मर को सब्सिडी देता है, जब कनाडा सब्सिडी देता है, जब जापान सब्सिडी देता है, तो हमारी सरकार लाचार क्यों है? हमारी सरकार ये क्यों नहीं कहती कि आप सब्सिडी बंद कीजिए, हम भी देंगे, लेकिन वो सब्सिडी दे रहे हैं, वो फार्मर लेके आ रहे हैं, सब कर रहे हैं, हमारी सरकार कहती है हम मजबूर है। इसका एक ही कारण है, सरकार गांवों से जो किसान है उनको मजदूर बनाकर शहरों में लेके जाना चाहती है। सरकार को कॉर्पोरेट के लिए, सरकार को कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी के लिए सस्ते मजदूर चाहिए, और सरकार को देश का पेट भरने के लिए सब्सिडी किसानों पर दी जा रही है। आज गेहूं का रेट 22 रुपए है, लेकिन बिहार में जाके पूछिए आप, यूपी जाके पूछिए, कल 185 पूरे मंत्री दिल्ली में बोलते हैं एक्सपेक्टेड पर्सन डिलीवर आदमी कि हमारा गेहूं 34 रुपए पर क्विंटल बिकता है, बिहार में 12 रुपए पर क्विंटल बिकता है। यानी कि देश का कम से कम 85 से 50% लोगों का गेहूं धान एमएसपी के नीचे बिकता है, और किसान सब्सिडी दे रहा है देश के लोगों को। लेकिन दुख बात ये है, सब्सिडी लोगों को नहीं मिल रही, वो सब्सिडी मिल रही है आटा चक्रियों को, आशीर्वाद वालों को, अन्नपूर्णा वालों को। वो सस्ते दाम पर गेहूं खरीद कर वही रेट, अगर मेरे से गेहूं में 22 रुपए किलो, वो भी 800 का रेट 40 पर के जी है, अगर मेरे 40 रुपए किलो तो भी 800 रुपए 40 रुपए पर के जी है। मैंने मुझे कॉर्पोरेट को पालने की और गरीब मजदूर किसान को मारने की जो नीति है, इससे हमारा देश पीछे नहीं बन सकता, नहीं बन सकता, नहीं बन सकता। मोदी जी को कहना चाहूंगा, 1996 में तो पहली बार अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी प्रधानमंत्री बने थे, 13 दिन प्रधानमंत्री रहे थे। आप जो उन्होंने इस वक्त नीतियां बनाई थी 13 दिन के अंदर अंदर, उन नीतियों की गौर करें, अपने पुरखों के अमल करें, उनकी रिसर्च करें।
जी सर, जी रंजीत जी, हम आपकी बात से बहुत ज्यादा सहमत हैं, हम आपकी बात को समझ रहे हैं। सरकार को इस बात पर ध्यान देना पड़ेगा कि ये जो एमएसपी है ये हमारे किसानों को दी जाए, किसान भाइयों को दी जाए, ताकि जो कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन है उसको नीचे लाया जा सके, और ये जो किसानों का सुसाइड रेट है, फार्मर सुसाइड रेट है, ये कम हो सके, बिकॉज फार्मर सुसाइड रेट इज अ मैटर ऑफ ग्रेव कंसर्न फॉर द एंटायर नेशन. As per the new budget, the PM Awas Yojana Urban 2.0 has been introduced. Needs of 1 crore urban poor and middle class families will be addressed with an investment of rupees 10 lakh crore. That is a radical promise. To what extent do you see this coming to fruition and actually becoming a reality from the perspective of our guests? I would like to ask Tummala Yoga Yugandhar ji.
I would like to answer your previous question on MSP.
Yes, sir.
The major reason why the farmers are failing in India is we don't have the soil analysis. The carbon content, which has to be at above 3%, is at below 0.
So we are not able to hear your voice, sir. Sir, could you unmute yourself, sir? Tummalaji, could you kindly unmute yourself?
Wherein you can match with your MSP price. That is one thing. And the point that Ranjit Singh also mentioned is connecting the farmer to the consumer is most important in the Indian economy, where the farmers are wasting or throwing off the vegetables that they grow or the crops that they grow because of lack of prices, and the consumers here in cities are paying a lot more prices. We request the governments of all the states, including the national government, to focus on connecting the farmer to the consumer, where we can save a lot of revenues and make the farmer happy. That is one point that I would like to add to the discussion.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving those valuable insights. Now the forum is open to all our guests. This focus is on the 4 major castes: the Annadata farmer, Garib, the poor, the Mahilaएं or the women, and the Yuva or the youth of the country, and the budget theme itself focusing on 4 major areas of employment, skilling, the MSMEs and the middle class section of the society. What are your thoughts on this budget theme breakdown? Is it relevant, and how far will it help in the overall growth and the development of our nation? This question is open to all our guests. May we have your thoughts? Yes, Tummalaji, I would like to go with you first. The theme of this year's budget itself.
The Union government has focused on 9 key things, ma'am. That is, 1, giving importance to the agriculture; 2, skill development and employment of youth. These are the 2 key factors where the government should focus on making the youth of India a more skill developed, because we are facing huge crisis in all the industries that we are seeing in Telangana, where we have lack of skill development in the youth. We have to take it as a serious cause and compete with other countries like China. We need to work at almost 200% of what we are doing right now, where we have a huge number of youth that is being in the population of India. We have to use the youth into the proper way by giving a proper skill development centers at every district level. Is an immediate action that has to be focused on by the Union government.
So as per the discussion, yes, it is indeed correct that looking at the current scenario, the current political spectrum of the country, the theme which has been chosen by the Indian government for this India Budget 2024 is absolutely relevant, because more skill development is required. I would like to thank our highly reputed panel of speakers who have joined us live in CVR English newsroom for the special India Budget Debate 2024. That was a highly power-packed and insightful discussion on all the key highlights of the Indian Budget 2024. With all our prominent speakers, we thank you all for joining us today, and we will also keep you posted continuously on more updates and news on the India Budget 2024 in our unfiltered and unvarnished fashion. This is Anukriti Sharma signing off for now. Keep watching CVR English.